Compared to a decade ago, modern bikes have great brakes, but clearly there's limits because 30% of all motorcycle accidents are rear-enders on cars. So we're going to give you some handy tips and practical advice on how to improve your braking.
Always buffer. Make space between you and the car ahead. You can't outbrake a car. 4 wheels beats 2 every time. The front brake is king. At least 70% of effective braking comes from the front brake. Use the rear as a supplement, especially if you have a pillion or luggage. Check your tires. Look after them and they'll look after you. What's the pressure in your tires right now? If you're out by more than 2 psi, then you're not checking them often enough. Set up your front brake. Every time you approach a junction or any busy traffic situation, you should set up your front brake and have your left hand ready to pull the clutch in for an emergency stop. Don't know what we mean? Well, keep watching. Okay, on the far side of the practice area, we've drawn a chalk stop line. Let's pretend it's a brick wall. Got it? From the other end of the practice area, ride at 40 k's towards the line and use the front brake to emergency stop at the last moment you think you safely can. Make a mental note of where you stopped. Now, let's do it again, but this time we're going to break it into some steps. Set up at 40k again. Take up the slack in the brake lever and feel the friction point as the brake pads just touch. Keep your arms bent and head up. Grip the tank with your knees and thighs, feet on the pegs. Now squeeze the brake progressively harder until you come to a stop. Did you feel the difference? The first step of taking up the slack in the brakes and sinking the front suspension is called setting up. It readies you and the bike for braking hard. Lift your chin to keep your vision on the horizon. If you look down, that's where you'll go. In a real-life emergency, the urge is to slam the brakes on full in one go, but the 2 steps of setting up then squeezing gives you full control of emergency braking. Let's repeat the exercise, this time using just the rear brake, still keeping your arms bent, head up and gripping the tank. You'll notice immediately how much weaker it is, but it still makes a difference. Again, keep repeating, feeling out how much braking power there actually is. Now if you brake hard enough with the front or rear, there's a point where you'll lock up the wheel, and that's not good. When it happens, immediately soften your braking to release the wheel and stabilize the bike. Then apply the brake again. A locked wheel will cause a crash. The key is to recognize the feel of your brakes and tires and know when you're close to locking up. And that's down to lots of practice. After you've explored both brakes, then do the exercise all over again with the front and rear together, applying everything you've learned. Combined front and rear braking will give you the best possible stopping power when you need it. If you spend an hour doing this exercise, I guarantee you'll see a real improvement in your braking.
Your brakes and tyres talk back to you every single time you use them, so make sure that you listen. And don't forget, brakes need space to work. Did I mention buffering?